Hello everyone on YouTube, Shadow Sun here. So I thought I would give a brief introduction to my channel along with sharing a little bit about how I do crystals and what types of candles I would use. So for those of you who don't know, I am a blind solitary witch. I have been practicing for almost 9 years. My foundation is in Wicca, and it's a big influence on my practice. However, I will say that I do take a lot of influences from various other paths, but I do it very respectfully, and I make sure that I do a lot of research on what I do, and this pertains to crystals and candles. And you would think that candles aren't something you'd have to research, but thinking about how you would dress them and how you would use specific colors for specific things, and that gets interesting being blind because I don't see color with a lot of detail, so I might use different colors that's not traditionally used, or colors that people wouldn't necessarily associate with certain things. And everybody is going to have their own associations and their own specific ways of working with colors in magic as a whole, depending on what they're practicing and what they're working with in terms of potentially spirits, of course. But even then, that's going to depend largely also on culture, I believe, as well, because depending on where you come from, you may not be practicing the same way as other people would. What I might use, somebody else may not use, or they might use it in a completely different way than I use it. So, as an example, this piece of amethyst here, I use for intuition, but I also use it for keeping me calm and keeping me from having anxiety or something of that nature. Another example would be this really large piece of smoky quartz. That is primarily used for protection, among other things. It's also good, from what I've read, for the radiation, electromagnetic radiation. I have not had any evidence to support that. That does not mean that I don't believe it. It just means that until I have an evidential example to prove that, then I may believe that to be the case. I learn a lot through experience, experimentation. As I've mentioned elsewhere, I blog as well, before I forget to mention that. So I've talked about my own path in terms of experience, of what I've experienced and what I will continue to experience. And I want to just make this channel to share how I do things as a blind person in terms of my own path, in addition to how I would go about sharing my path with other people and what I've learned and how I can help new people and people in general who've been on this path for quite a while maybe think of things that they wouldn't. I don't see disability discussed a lot within the witchy communities anywhere. I mean, it's discussed, but it's very seldomly discussed. It's not something that is continuously talked about, which isn't something I particularly want to primarily focus on, but it's something that should be focused on as a whole, because we are present as witches and we have practices, and I think the more people with disabilities share that, then the more of an exposure and inclusion we're going to have. In addition to the fact that we can share and break barriers, because people with disabilities come in all kinds of forms, and I think that it's important to keep that in the conversation, because we should be able to share what our paths are like, and we might not feel comfortable doing that if nobody else is doing it. So I want to be here to just help people share and learn from other people. I watch a lot of people on YouTube. It's been one of the main things that's getting me through this crazy coronavirus self-isolation situation. In addition to meditation, which is something I want to talk about as well on this channel, and different ways you can meditate. So these two candles, before I forget about them, these are tea lights that a friend gave to me that I use. I will dress these up when I'm doing a spell, but it just depends on what I'm working with. Although I just realized, well, before I started making this video, and I was going to omit it, but I'm going to share it anyway. This candle on my left, the wick is broken. Don't know how that happened, but it happened. The other candle has a very not broken wick, and I would use a specific oil to dress this candle up. And I'm not gonna lie, I don't remember what color this candle is, just because I didn't get a chance to check, and how I would check that is, you know, asking someone or just keeping it in a specific place that I know the candle would be. But I also use these crystals if I don't have candles available to me. So if I was working a protection spell, I might use a white candle and the smoky quartz, and put that smoky quartz somewhere to help with the protection. And when I look at crystals, I look at them from the perspective of what they are actually physically made of and the energetic properties, but I always do my research. I do the same thing with elixirs. So I hope that this video has been useful to you, and I hope that you will join me in sharing my views on the subject of paganism and witchcraft. So talk to you all soon. Many blessings. Subscribe and like if you enjoy it. Share it to your friends. Turn on the notification sound, and I'll speak to you all soon. Look for more videos, hopefully this Friday. I'm going to tie it to my blog so that when I post on my blog, which is I post Sundays and Fridays at 5 p.m. Pacific, and a link will be in the description bar in addition to the videos. So they will probably be on the same days. So I will see you on Friday. Talk to you all soon.